and welcome to this episode of Workwise Business Insights. I'm Michelle Smith and I'm here with my co-host Rosalind, and we have the great pleasure this time of welcoming Judith Quin from Your Whole Voice. And she is going to be, I am absolutely certain of it, sharing some absolutely fantastic information, tips and details of how you can harness your whole voice in your business. This is our last episode of 2025, so we are kind of getting ready for the countdown to Christmas, and I think this is a really lovely episode actually to be finishing the year and getting everybody thinking about what their 2026 looks like and how they can implement some of the things that I have no doubt they are going to learn from Judith. So, welcome Judith.
Thank you.
Without further ado, Rosalind, over to you, because we've got some really juicy questions to ask.
We do. So, thank you, Judith, and welcome to Workwise Business Insight. Do you have a glass of water? Because you're going to need that. I'll just go first. For listeners who haven't come across your own voice yet, how would you describe what you do and what drew you to think this work in the first place?
So, the key element of what I do is help people speak about who they are and what they do positively with confidence. I.e., I help people to be able to say, I am really good at what I do. Whether they are employed or self-employed, whether they are, I've worked with partners in law firms, KCs, CEOs, receptionists, holistic practitioners. It doesn't matter who you are or what you do. It is about speaking about who you are and what you do positively with confidence, without awkwardness, embarrassment, or the dreaded fear of sounding arrogant. And that is the big thing that most people fear who come to my work. They dread, like, but if I say I'm really good at this, if I say I'm excellent at that, then won't that sound arrogant? So that's the element of what I do. There's a lot of deeper stuff. I'm sure we'll go into that later as we go through, because it's really connecting to getting rid of outdated identities and stepping into your wholeness, and that's a whole load of mindset, energy, emotion work, and that the result is stepping up in your world. So if you want to be getting promotion, promoting yourself more, getting more clients, all of that stuff, it's about being able to say, I am world class at what I do. That's been my stretch this year, stretching from excellent to world class. For some people, just saying I'm good is the challenge. What brought me to this was my background is 20 years as a classically trained professional actress, and to support my acting career, because it's not the glamour everyone thinks it is. And no, I haven't been on EastEnders. I've not even been a dead body on Casualty, before anyone's wondering. I did a lot of theatre and a lot of unpaid things. That's the life of most actors. So I was also a temp for a long time, very largely in all sorts of atmospheres, being a receptionist or an executive assistant or whatever was needed in temping. And then when that was draining my soul too much, I trained as a massage therapist. So I was a massage therapist to support my acting career. And then I discovered vocal sound healing, which I'm sure we'll talk about later, and started running what I now call vocal sound baths. This is back in 2011, before most people had heard of sound baths or gong baths. And one of my massage clients said, Judith, you're an actress and you do that weird stuff with sound. Can you help my husband? He's got to give a speech in a couple of weeks to 80 lawyers and he hates public speaking. And although all my younger selves and my whole imposter family were going, who are you? Who are you to tell a 65-year-old magistrate how to speak to 80 lawyers? They're proper people with proper jobs. You're just a 37-year-old failed actress. Who are you? I said yes anyway. And it was an awesome session. It's where I learned I have a couple of very specific qualities, skills, knowledge and experience that people don't have. And so I wrote about it in my newsletter to my massage clients, and then they were like, oh my God, I didn't know you help people with public speaking. I didn't know you helped that. Could you help me? So I did. One of them was a coach, so it's jumping forward now from 2011 to 2015. One of them was a coach, and she assumed I'd trained as a coach because of the way that I was working. But I was like, no, this is just how I work. So then I also trained as a life coach to enhance those skills, and then I combined everything together. And after a pretty severe mental health blip for myself in 2016, in 2017 I stepped away from acting, and that was when Your Whole Voice was born. So I've been doing just this since 2017.
Amazing. Wow.
It's so interesting to hear how all these things fit together into what you do now. So I'm looking forward to hearing more.
Thank you. That's amazing. Right. Talking about confidence, Judith, your approach combines vocal coaching, because you mentioned that as well, confidence work, and vocal sound healing. How do these elements fit together in a way that supports small business owners?
In a beautiful amalgamation of mental, physical, energetic, emotional, and for those to whom it's important, spiritual. So it is a truly holistic practice. The vocal coaching brings in a lot of the practical tools, tips, techniques from my 20 years as a classically trained actor. So pace, pitch, posture, projection, articulation, finding the right words, and being able to, one of my magic superpowers, this is I learned in my first session with Bruce, is being able to see, hear and feel when someone is speaking their truth. And very often for people running their own businesses, one of the biggest challenges my clients have, they bring to me, is, oh, but I don't sound authentic, and I hate speaking so much that I lose my authenticity, and I don't know, and I can't find my message, especially if they either find speaking about what they do difficult, or they think what they do is difficult for people to understand. So it's like, I can't find the clarity of the message. So that ability to create that energy, and the confidence stuff is a combination of mindset and emotional work, which comes from both the life coaching and the holistic healing, holistic practitioner life that I've led. And that's the wholeness. So in Your Whole Voice, your voice is a reflection of every emotion or experience you've ever had, witnessed or imagined. Your voice is also a reflection of the thoughts and feelings you are in the moment. So your thoughts and feelings about yourself, your thoughts and feelings about the situation, your thoughts and feelings about the people you're with, and your thoughts and feelings about yourself in relation to that situation and in relation to the people you're with. So that confidence work is both mindset and emotions. And the vocal sound healing comes into that because in using your voice in a different way, in the sounding, where there's no right or wrong note, there's an exploration or a reflection of your emotions, you use your voice in a different way, and you let go of judging yourself and judging your voice. And that's the connection. So they all interlink in a beautiful way. And for those people who are scared maybe of the words vocal sound healing, and it sounds a little bit woo and a bit too hippie and a whole load of nonsense, just think of it as physics. We hold on. When we feel an emotion, our body has a physiological reaction. So if I tell you now to think of someone who really gets on your nerves, someone who frustrates you, someone who, whether they're in your life or in the public sphere, just think of that person. And as you're thinking of them, notice what's tensing in your body. Now, those repeated tensions get held in your cell memory. And the sounding, like matter impacts matter. My physics teacher would be so proud. Matter impacts matter. And there was a beautiful sentence actually in an advert for a film that's coming out called, I think it's called The History of Sound. And there's a beautiful line in there that says, sound is invisible, yet physical. So sound waves will then impact your matter. We all know it when we stood by a speaker at a concert and we literally feel music coming through us. So when you're sounding your voice, you're literally changing the vibration of your cells, and then because the cells are moving, they release what they're holding onto, both physical tension and emotional. And I've actually done a proof of concept study with a doctor who is a King's Fellow researcher, and I did the study in 2023, and exciting news, you hear it here first. She sent me the draft of the write-up of that proof of concept study, which is going to be submitted to some medical journals. So, wow. For those who are like, vocal sound healing, that's just hippie woo, fluffy nonsense. Yes, it can get deeply spiritual if my client is open to that. But it's also a really practical way of working with your voice, where you're holding physical and emotional tension. So that's how they all come together.
Wow, amazing. So your work will be going into research soon. Wow,
yep.
Amazing, Judith.
Yeah.
Incredible.
And this doctor is doing, because she's an overachiever, and she has been a client of mine, which is why she used the sounding for her sciatica. And when she was a GP, she's now a retired GP, she was partner of her practice. But when she was a GP, her specialism was pain, and retirement's been a bit boring for her. So she's, as we do, decided to do a PhD. So she's doing a doctorate on the connection between emotional pain and physical pain.
Amazing.
And that's a whole other topic.
Wow, I can't wait to read that, because
exactly.
I've been doing a lot of work around that area with clients as well. That fact that things become trapped, and releasing that can have an incredible impact, can't it, on pain, belief, the whole person.
And when we're in pain, and this is the wholeness of your whole voice, because it's about the whole of who you are. I mentioned it earlier in the identity piece, the labels we're carrying from our childhood, the labels we're carrying up for those who used to work in corporate and are now running their own business, or the labels we have from our family, the labels we have, all of that. When you step into the wholeness of who you are now, rather than carrying what you used to be, then your voice will change, because you'll be a reflection of a different person. And if part of your identity is, for example, a pain identity, the proof of concept study was with people with chronic pain. One woman, by the way, 2 sessions, and she got rid of shoulder pain she'd had for 20 years. But all of that is part of your identity, and that all impacts how you feel sharing your voice, whether that is in networking situations, whether that is picking up the phone to speak to new clients, whether that is showing up on a podcast, showing up doing videos for your business, being seen as well as being heard. All of that is interlinked. that's the whole in your whole voice.
Wow. Amazing. Thank you for sharing that. Thinking about wholeness that you spoke about, and then being authentic when pitching, maybe your business or at networking. What we found is many entrepreneurs, they know they need to speak out more, including myself anyway, whether, pitching, at networking, leading a team, but they are blocked by nerves, self-doubts, What core patterns do you see from your experience, and how do you help people shift them?
The number one thing, and this is why I say the work I do is deep. The true work I do is the deep stuff. The number one thing is, I mentioned it earlier, talking about myself, like all my younger me's, the younger versions of me going, oh, who are you? Who are you? So it's that question is the biggest block. Who am I? Who am I to take up these people's time? Who am I to take up space in this room? Who am I to be putting myself out there? Who am I to be charging this much? Who am I? Drives me insane. Right, and I have it too. Right, it drives me insane in myself. I literally, last weekend, I had a client, and I can't say too much because of client confidentiality, and they are a very private person, and they're in quite a high profile role. But he is a partner in a corporate law firm in America, a big corporate law firm, and also has a small scale public office that he holds. And he flew over from America just to work with me for 2 days last weekend. And a part of me was going, who am I for this guy to fly now? And this is what I want to let people know. The tools and techniques I talk about, I use. I have to practice what I preach, because we all have this. We all have our subconscious running the show, and the labels and our identity and our self-worth or our self-esteem or our self-belief or our self-confidence. So I can both 100% say I am world class at what I do, because I know I am, and I've been stepping into that just this last 2 months. I've gone from I am excellent to I am world class. Don't worry, for those listening going, oh my God, I can't even say I'm good at what I do. It took me a while to build up, so just start with I am good. And this is what I do in my free online sessions, is help people get to that I am good and start expounding on it. But when he was flying over just to work with me, if he'd been in London anyway and said, oh, actually, I'm going to be in London, let's tag it onto that, I'd have been like, yep, fine, that's good. He's top level, but I worked with the King's Council also earlier this year, so I'm used to working with people at that level. But the fact that he flew over specifically to work with me, and I know that turns into my money mindset, because I'm like, oh, he's spending like not just the money I charge, right, the £3,000 I charge for that work plus the ongoing support, but also paying for, a good £1,000 worth of flights plus the hotels. So I had to go. I didn't have who am I, because I've worked through that in myself, but I did have, right, am I really? What if? So I had to do the work on myself. And so the work is change that question from who am I to who am I? Who are you for people to do the work with you? Who are you to say, I am really good at? Who are you to take up someone's time? Who are you? So that is the biggest challenge and the simple reframe that I offer people. Start acknowledging all the reasons why you are deserving of taking up that time and space.
This is powerful, Judith.
Michelle, your face.
I just want to say that anybody watching this, if they take nothing else away, oh my goodness me, what an incredible thing to share. So thank you.
Thank you. Who am I? I am so good.
Who am I?
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Judith. Michelle, do you have questions?
I do have a couple, yes. Judith, in your view, what's the difference between confidence and authentic confidence? And how can business owners cultivate that authentic confidence?
Come and work with me.
We're signing up quick.
Yeah, the short answer. My 2-day vocal confidence workshop will be happening again in Waterloo in May. And I have my free online sessions. My free online sessions are twice a month at the moment. So come to them. They're called Unshakable Speaker. So literally come to them. Get used to speaking about it. The difference between confidence and authentic confidence. So I am a naturally confident person, and I also have a massive I'm not wanted belief, right, in terms of my makeup and my role, my identity from childhood. And my confidence, I've learned in the last few years, some of my confidence was actually my mask. And that tends to be the challenge for a lot of people. They're like, oh, I have to put it on, and then we tend to, it's a possibility that you can go a little bit over the top and it becomes forced. And so a lot of people, and this is the fear of sounding arrogant, because a lot of my clients are people who really care about making a difference, and they care a lot about other people. And so they don't want to come across as boorish or bragging, and they get really annoyed by the loud people who take up a lot of time, who maybe don't appear so considerate. Mm-hmm. What we have to remember is that some of those people who actually maybe are arrogant, is that's possibly a mask. It's quite possibly their insecurities coming across as, yeah, I've got this, I know this, yeah, well, actually, no, I've got an idea. Very often, I need to be heard. So a lot of people are afraid of that kind of confidence, in inverted commas. So the natural, more authentic confidence, and the thing people find difficult, is just allowing yourself to go, again, it links into the who am I. Remind yourself of all the qualities you have. Remind yourself of your values. When you're speaking, are you connected to your values, to what is true to you? Or are you listening to your fear? Again, the amygdala at the back of the brain, our subconscious, like it's all fear-based in nature. We will always look out for what's dangerous because the amygdala hasn't changed since we were living in caves. So it will always, if we say the wrong thing in the wrong way, we might get kicked out of the tribe, and then we can't kill a woolly mammoth and survive the winter on our own. And the amygdala is still going, look for the fear, look for what's dangerous, look for where you might not fit in, so it's really easy to look at what's dangerous or bad, or what people might not like about us, or the things we might do that might annoy people, or the things that annoy you that you don't want to do because you don't want to be seen as one of those people. What we forget to do is, and as a phrase I coined with a client a couple of years ago who did a 3-day immersive where I do things where clients come and live with me for 3 or 5 days. I've got one this weekend. And this client had 3 different degrees, was a woman working in change management as a consultant in a very male-dominated area, had beautiful human-centric ways of moving forward, but didn't acknowledge any of her achievements. And so I created the phrase ego cookies. Like we can't, people are worried about coming across as egotistical and arrogant, and then what they tend to do is they then starve their ego because they're like, oh, I can't come across as egotistical, so I have to be, like, I just have to be really quiet and humble, and then what that does is it starves your ego. So then you're always like putting yourself down or not speaking up, and you're not connected to actually your truth. So we need to feed ourselves with all the good stuff. And when you're connected and you're remembering what's true about you, if it's true, it's not bragging. So when you're connected to your truth, and another big part of the work I do, especially with people who run their own business, is help you find your unshakable business message. It's something that runs through you like a stick of rock. And people could say to you, oh, hypnotherapy, what a load of nonsense. What an absolute load of tosh, that doesn't work. And you don't get aggressive about it, you're just like, thank you very much for your opinion. I'm really sorry you've had that experience. I know this works. So I help people find their unshakable business message, which helps them be in their authenticity. Because then when you're speaking about who you are and what you do, positively, with confidence, you can remind yourself of that before you go into the situation. So for me, my unshakable message is when you liberate your voice, you will liberate and elevate your life. And if the work you do supports others, when you liberate your voice, you will liberate and elevate the lives of others. And when you're connected to that, and when you're connected to your values, so then there's a whole deepest truth, higher values piece, that's when your confidence will be authentic, because it's coming from something that runs through you as truth. You don't need to preach it, you don't need to prove anything, and you can sit in that grounded confidence, and it will be reflected in your voice.
What
Amazing.
a beautiful answer. Thank you for that. And actually, my next question was going to be about an example of somebody that you'd worked with, and you encompassed that with what you've given us there. So thank you. I know that Rosalind had a question that she absolutely said we have to ask you. So I'm going to hand over to her now and let her ask you.
I'm on tenterhooks. What's the question?
Action. Yes, I think you kind of talked about a little bit. Obviously you've mentioned the unshakable that is going to happen in Waterloo in May, and I didn't even know that anyway before I was talking to Michelle. So you use sounding in some of your programs anyway, because we've seen that you've talked about that during networking. So how does this work help release emotional or physical tension, and why might that matters in a business context?
Whether you are running your own business or whether you are, like several of my clients, lawyers or doctors, or you're running in HR or finance, it doesn't matter where you are always you. So your professional self is always your human self, and the personal and the professional will always impact each other. And vocal sounding, so sound is matter, matter impacts matter. It's the only sound healing tool that works from the inside out, so you're always in control of it. And it works by giving voice to the challenges or creating the energy you would like to be in, and literally putting you in that state or vibration. Your voice is vibration. It's sound waves vibrating. If you just do it with me now, place your hand on your chest, take a breath in and hum. Those listening, watching, do this. You will feel your voice vibrating either in your chest or your nose or your jaw. Your voice is vibration. Now I want you to think about someone or something that is just annoying you or irritating you at the moment. And if that made a sound, what kind of a sound would that be? So I think of someone in the political sphere who just irritates me. So if I just think of that person, right? But I just want you to think of, it might be that you've got the washing up in the sink and it hasn't been done and it's annoying you, right? It can be anything. And if that made a sound, what kind of sound would that make? So 1, 2, 3. And just allow yourself to make that sound, right? Whatever it is. Beautiful.
Get rid of.
It's nice to get rid of.
See, I could feel it in my back, actually.
Yeah.
Really, seriously.
And you feel your back.
It's like letting go of something.
Yeah. So now there is space. So now if you're running late, I don't know, you've got children, they've been annoying, or your dog's sick, or you're running late on something else, and you're going into a meeting and you've got all those tensions. If you just spend, what was that, 15 seconds sounding it out, you go into that room or meeting with more space. You're not carrying that with you. Now the second part is you can put yourself in the energy you'd like to be in. So again, place your hand on your heart just because it helps, and I just want you to think of either the state you would love to be in for whatever you're going into next, or someone or something that makes your heart fill with light, something that's fabulous, right? Or the energy you need. It might be, actually, I need certainty for this, or I need courage. All right, so it might be, what does courage sound like? It might be, what does ease sound like? And then you just feel into, and if that made a sound, what kind of sound would that be? So what do I need for my next thing? I need space, so what would that be? And you can make it 2 or 3 times. And what are you feeling?
Relieved.
Relieved. Lovely. So that's a really micro version of how I use sounding. Like, I literally have a 7-day sound healing retreat where we go very deep and we release a whole load of emotional stuff on this. But, so you can do that for 15 seconds, or you can come and do it for 7 days. But that is why it's important for people in business, because it's about your emotional state and how you're showing up. And that will be reflected in your voice.
This is amazing. You know what? When I was in corporate, I've seen a lot of people thinking, having a cup of coffee, helps all these things. Helps their voice, the confidence and everything. Especially when we're thinking about money, we're talking about budget and everything. I've seen leaders thinking, I need to get that cup of coffee. Oh, I've had 2 cups before I left the house this morning, and I've had one. I think I need another one. So, and I think people hearing this as well, the exercise you've just done, Judith, very, very perfect.
And if people want some, want to put some credit on it, I do a talk-in workshop, so I do talks and workshops in companies, and I took one of my talks called the 15-second stress reducer, where we do exactly this exercise into the Bank of England this year. So if people are going, oh yes, but really, what kind of, who's going to value that kind of thing? The Bank of England had that talk taken into them this year. So, if
so
it's
you
good
won't
enough for
recommend
them,
coffee? No more coffee.
no more coffee.
Which won't help you sleep. That's
No.
my big thing at the moment. So yeah, absolutely. I think that what you've given us there, Judith, as tools are just, there's no excuse not to use them, is there?
No.
Oh.
The biggest challenge is people's self-consciousness. But the thing is, I say, if you do it and you end up laughing because you're embarrassed, laughter is the highest vibration sound there is, so you'll naturally be putting yourself into a better state.
What's
And
about that?
yeah, and if you're not sure, I do soundings online, and the first 3 of those are always free, and I'm running a 90-minute session on the first Saturday of every month, January, February, March, April, in Waterloo, and they're just 33 quid. So if you want to come and suss it out, then come and go, okay, how could this work?
Brilliant. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Amazing. I have one question, then I'll hand over to Michelle to round up actually around some of the advice you could probably give our viewers and business owners. So, from all the examples that you've given, and we've seen a lot of things coming in the next few years, we've seen AI developing and everything. Then thinking about this voice thing, what is the most exciting evolution you are seeing from your training program on how leaders communicate today, and what trend do you see or will you see in the next few years?
The most exciting thing, and we have to thank COVID for this, is people have remembered about that humans are behind the work, and that well-being has been put at the top or closer to the top of companies, again, whether that's people running their own business or whether that's big corporates. Would the Bank of England have taken a talk on vocal sound healing pre-COVID? I'm not sure, because I'm not sure they'd have been as conscious of the stress impact and the well-being essential. So that's the most exciting thing. And also that when people recognize, several people come to me because their personal development plan, public speaking is terrifying for so many people, that it impacts well-being. So it's both a learning and development and skills expansion as well as a well-being. So it fits several budgets, which is good for companies. So that's really exciting, that the humanity of people is put to the fore. And in the future, I think, yes, AI does a lot of good and will do a lot of not good, but it can't replace human contact. And I think that vocal confidence specifically will only become more important the more people get lost in AI and start using it. When people start cloning their voices for meetings and things, but people are still going to have human-to-human contact. So that's probably my biggest importance of being connected to your own voice, and will make the biggest difference. The people who are confident in expressing themselves, who are able to speak, will develop quicker and faster and further, because ultimately that human contact will make the difference.
Understand.
Well
Absolutely.
said, Judith. I agree.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you both so
Said.
much.
Oh, no, thank you. What a fabulous interview, and thank you for being so generous with what you've shared with us. You know, I love an episode where people can take something really tangible away from it, and I think they will definitely find that that's the case with this. So thank you so much, and yeah, thank you for being generous with your time. Yeah, that anybody that wants to reach you to work with you going forward, what we will do, I mean, feel free to share the best place for people to contact you, but we will also share your contact details in the notes for this particular episode
Great.
as well.
Yeah, my website has everything. So yourwholevoice.com, and the events page, so /events if you want to come to something either online or in person. So all of that, the freebies and the soundings and the 2-day in May, they're all there. That's a Friday and Saturday, the 22nd and 23rd of May. And that's all there on the events page. And there's also a quiz to suss out where you're at in your vocal confidence. And there's a connect button. So if you'd like, actually, I think working with you could be good, you can just connect with a connection call or a clarity call, and we can have a chat to see whether we're a good fit and what that I offer would be the best way forward.
Excellent.
Thank you. Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah,
Absolute pleasure.
Thanks, Judith, and we wish you a good Christmas
And
and
you.
a fruitful New Year. Thank you.
That's it.
So it's this. Thank you.
Thank you so
Bye.
much. Take care. Bye bye.